Good morning, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. This morning I am going to fix a lemon apricot bundt cake. I went to a church social and this lady had this there and it was so good. I got her recipe and I'm going to give it a try. So again, this is going to be a lemon supreme apricot bundt cake. What you need is, of course, you need the cake mix, Duncan Hines, and you need apricot nectar, Nectar, and it says no substitute. I also need mazola oil, 3/4 cup of mazola, well, of oil. It says oil. I use mazola oil. You can use whatever oil, corn oil, or whatever kind of oil you would like to use. So we need oil. We need a package of lemon jello instant pudding. And instead of greasing our bundt pan with flour, we're going to use Crisco and sugar to dust the edge of the pan. So let's just, and 4 eggs. So let's get started. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the cake mix in the bowl. It says to add all ingredients but the eggs. And the eggs we're going to add one at a time and beat them as we put them in there. So, let's see what we can get done. I have now poured the cake mix in the bowl. That is really yellow cake mix. Looks very, very good. So what we'll do now is that we will put 3/4. We'll do the instant pudding. There's really a contrast between the pudding and the cake mix. So I'm just going to stir this up a little bit. And it says mix everything but the eggs. So we're going to put we're going to put a cup of this apricot nectar. And I want to tell you, it was sort of hard for me to find. And did you know that happens to be, it likes just a little bit being the whole cup of this. I had never heard of this before, and so it was a little bit hard for me to find it, but I did find it in a grocery store here, and I've heard since then that Dollar General or any one of those stores do have it. So, like I say, I did not know that. So what we're going to do is we're going to just gradually mix the apricot in it. Or you can really smell the lemon in it. And I have already measured out my 3/4 cup of oil. I don't know why I'm telling the wrong thing this morning, but 3/4 cup of oil. And we'll sort of mix that together. That oil took away some of the smell of my lemon. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my eggs one at a time and beat them after I put them in there. There's one of them. And I already have my lovely handy dandy mixer ready. So we're going to beat them. Doesn't take much to beat up an egg in there. There's one. And you preheat your oven to 350, which I am doing that already. And this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. And I do hope you will subscribe to my channel. That was a hard shell to break. And the last one. Make sure that's blended in real well. Let that sit right there just for a second. And we're going to take our bundt pan. And it says to grease the bundt pan with Crisco. So I'm just going to use a paper towel and put Crisco on it and just grease this. I know some people would say, well, just why didn't you use Pam or somewhere that you can just spray it? I do not know, except the sugar that you sprinkled or dust this with doesn't seem to stick as well with Pam as it does with Crisco. Of course, you could substitute Crisco, I guess, for butter. I've never tried that, so I don't know whether the sugar will go with that or not, or stick to it, really is what it is. Okay, I have now, make sure you get the center to it will not come out of the pan. So let me put just a little bit more. I'd rather have just a little bit too much. There we go. Got all the grooves. All the grooves are done. Then you're going to take the sugar and you're going to, I'm just going to sift mine. Some people just pour it in there, but I'm just going to sift it. And then that way it actually gets all over it. And it says to dust it, so you can make a good mess like I always do, but still, if you don't make a mess when you're cooking, it's not as good. You got to make a mess. And you know, it takes just about this half a cup of sugar to get this dusted where you can see it like it's coated. I doubt if you can see it on the video, but it is definitely, because the pan is cream color inside. If you had a different color pan, you might could see it better, but this just so happens this is the only bundt pan I could find. Okay, I just just want to make sure I got it all coated around. I do. So I'm going to pour out the excess that it was. And as you can see, I make a mess, but hey, I will get it up. There you go. You know what? No, it's everywhere around that. Then what we're going to do now is I'm going to put my cake mix in the pan. As I say, this is really, really yellow. This is really one good cake. It really reminds me of my mom's. The first bite I took, I said, I can't believe how much this cake reminds me of my mother's. And when anybody got sick in our household, this is what my mom always thought you needed, was a pound cake, bundt cake, with no icing. And no matter where I was at, until I did move to Florida, then I was too far away. If I got sick, I could always depend on Mom to bring me a cake. Okay. Sometimes I wished I just got sick so she could bring me a cake. So that is all done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put it in the oven and we're going to bake it at 350 for 1 hour. Then I'm going to take a toothpick and stick in it, and that's all you've got to do. So I will be back. And again, this is Kay and Tom Around the House. I hope you subscribe to my channel, and we will see how our cake turns out. Now I'll get busy doing something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this, my little handy dandy timer, for 1 hour, and I'll probably check on it somewhere in between, but for the time being it's set for 1 hour, and we will just see. And again, Around the House with Kay and Tom, make sure you subscribe. I know I don't show this a whole lot, but anytime I cook, after I do the dishes, which I've got the cake in the oven cooking, I always spray down my countertop with Lysol. This time I had sugar, so I want to make sure that there's no sugar residue left on the counter. But especially if you're cooking with any kind of meat, whether it's chicken, beef, or what, you need to at least spray down your countertop. I try to do it at least once a day, sometimes more often, depends on what I'm cooking. This is Around the House with Kay and Tom, and this was one of his pet peeves, was to always make sure that all your residue of any kind is off of your counter. Okay, it has now been an hour. I've got the cake out of the oven, and it really looks good, but it does say to let it cool off. So I'm going to let it sit right here for a few moments and cool off. And in the meantime, I found a cake plate that my oldest son gave me many years ago. And this is one of those old-fashioned glass cake plates, that has a lid that goes on top of it. Heavy, heavy, heavy stuff. So I have decided I'm going to put the cake in this when it cools off a little bit, because with a pound cake you don't need to refrigerate it, and it would be such a pretty item, and I think it would tickle him that I have actually decided to find this thing and to use it. So just as soon as my cake cools off, we're going to put it on the cake plate, and I will let you come back and look at it. And again, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. I hope you subscribe to my channel, and I think this is really going to be good. We will see you in just a few moments. Well, it has now cooled, the cake, so we're going to see just how easy this thing is going to be to dump out. I don't really know how to do it. Let's do it like this, and then just turn it up. Yeah, I can do this. Okay, let's see what we've got. Oh, I see a little piece came apart right there, but that's okay. Now that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to let it cool just a few minutes before I slice it, but it does look very good. And if you want a glaze on it, you could put a glaze on it, but we always didn't put a glaze on it, so I'm just going to leave it like it is. And again, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. I hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and you'll come back and see me again. And I'll come back in just a few moments when this is cooled, and we'll cut us a slice. It's time of day, it's break time. We need to have a slice of cake and a glass of tea. So again, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. Come back to see me. I cut a piece of the cake. It is really, really yellow. You can see where it sort of messed up right there. And I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have me a piece of this lovely cake and a glass of tea. Again, this is Around the House with Kay and Tom. Come back to see me. Hope you subscribe to my channel. And this really smells good. Have a good day. Bye.